You got those that think that, if you love God enough, then you're just, everything's going to be hunky dory, and you're not ever going to face any temptations. And Jesus faced temptations throughout his ministry. I mean, in Luke, on the eve of his crucifixion, he spoke to him and said, "You are they which have continued with me, through my temptations." And he said unto Peter, he says, "Satan has desired you to sift as wheat, but I have prayed that your faith fail not." You know, and after he had ate the Passover with them and washed their feet, he took James, John, and Peter with him to the garden and asked them to pray with him apart for 1 hour. And one gospel account says he went about a stone cast away from him to pray. And he prayed the same prayer 3 times. "Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. But nevertheless, not as I will, but your will be done." You know? And throughout his ministry, it says that he overcame by his words. You know? And this is how we are going to overcome, is by our words. But Satan has got people deceived, and all they do is confess themselves to be sinner and claim to be saved. And most of them aren't. Because they're born into a Trinity that doesn't exist. They haven't entered the faith and were born of Jesus and water baptism and entered into his death and put on Jesus, the Christ. And then we're filled with the Holy Spirit of promise, because to put on Christ and to be filled with the Holy Spirit are two different things. Galatians 3:27, as many as were baptized into Christ, he's talking about Jesus, because Jesus is the only Christ who died for us. Jesus is the only Son of God, not the Holy Spirit. We need to understand, because every time people want to read Christ, they want to interject Holy Spirit. I've seen this throughout my walk with God for 39 years. June of 1987. 38, 39 years, however long it's been. So we need to arm ourselves. We're gonna face trials and temptations. That's why Paul is saying, pray without ceasing. And if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, or so on, let us think on these things.